Hey everybody, this is Mr. McKee again with SEC 210. Today I'm going to be going over Lab 21.2.4, which is Certificate Authority Stores. Alright, if you're in my course, this lab contains 10 questions to answer throughout the lab. So download that Word document that's attached to the submission link in Moodle and fill out the 10 questions throughout the lab and upload that completed document for grade. Okay, so as the web evolved, so did the need for security. HTTPS, where the S stands for security, along with the concept of certificate authority, was introduced by Netscape back in 1994 and is still used today. In this lab, you will list all these certificates trusted by your browser, completed on your computer. You use hashes to detect if your internet connection is being intercepted, completed in the CyberOps workstation virtual machine. And you need your CyberOps workstation virtual machine and internet access. Part 1, certificates trusted by your browser. HTTPS relies on a third-party entity for validation, known as certification authority, or CA. This third-party entity verifies if a domain name really belongs to the organization claiming its ownership. If the validation checks, the CA creates a digitally signed certificate containing information about the organization, including its public key. The entire system is based on the fact that web browsers and operating systems ship with a list of CAs they trust. Any certificate signed by any of the CAs in the list will be seen by the browser as legitimate and can be automatically trusted. To make this system more secure and more scalable, CAs often spread the task of creating and signing certificates among many child CAs. The parent CA is known as the root CA. If a browser trusts a root CA, it also trusts all of the children CAs. Right, note, while the certificate stores are similar across browsers, this lab focuses on Chrome 81 and Firefox 75. The menu and graphics may be different for other versions of the web browser. Follow the steps to display the CA store in your browser. Display the root certificates in Chrome. Alright, so I'm using Chrome on my PC anyways, so that's not going to be an issue. Alright, so here's Chrome. So I'll tile that over top of my workstation VM. Alright, click the three-dot icon on the far right of the address bar to display the Chrome options. You can't even see mine, but I'm gonna... Yeah, you really can't see it. Actually, right here, this up arrow. Alright, go down to settings, which is right there. Scroll down to privacy and security, which is right here, probably 4 sections down. Scroll down and select manage certificates. Manage certificates. I'll have to find that. Let's see. Security means security. There we go, manage certificates. So I'll enter under security. So privacy and security. Click the drop down arrow. Scroll all the way down to manage certificates. Right? Click that and that opens up my stuff. Alright. Alright, so the certificate window, select trusted root certification, I don't know why I can't say that, certification authorities to show all certificates and certificate authorities trusted by Chrome, which notice there's a whole bunch. And what's weird, you guys can see this one, that's actually the one from my firewall, so you normally wouldn't see an internal IP address. Alright, so display the certificates in the CA store in Firefox. Do I have Firefox on my piece? Yep, I would say I don't use it much. Alright, so I'm gonna close down Chrome. I'm gonna snap Firefox up there. Alright, open Firefox and click the menu icon. The menu icon is located in the far right of the Firefox window next to the address bar. Alright, in the menu, click Preferences. Now I had to find it. Let's see. I'm in Preferences. So you can see right here the Preferences is the cog. Alright, so that's my preferences. Yeah, like they were saying, once these they change around their version of Firefox or Chrome, it'll look different. Alright, so click Preferences, click Privacy and Security, which is right there in my case. Scroll down to the Security section and click View Certificates. Certificates. And notice right here, I have to scroll over a little bit, but very bottom section, certificates, view certificates. All right. A window opens to show the certificates and certification authorities trusted by Firefox. And notice mine are the same starting out as theirs. All right. This part is completed using CBROPS Workstation VM. So I'm going to shut down this Firefox. And I guess I should mention, let's see. About Firefox, I'm using 77.0.1 version of Firefox. So if yours is similar to mine, it'll look just like mine. In Chrome, I'm using, let's see what version. And it's usually under the About section. So like see here, click that up arrow, help, about. I'm using version 86.0.4240.75. Alright, so if it doesn't look the same, you know why. Alright, shut that down. Alright, so checking for a man in the middle. This part is completed using the CBROPS Workstation VM. A common use for hashes is to verify data integrity, but they can also be used to detect HTTPS man-in-the-middle attacks. To protect user data, more and more websites are switching to encrypted traffic. Known as HTTPS, sites use protocols such as TLS, SSL to encrypt user traffic from end to end. After the traffic is properly encrypted, it is very difficult for any party other than the user and the site in question to see the contents of the encrypted message. This is good for the users, but it also creates a problem for organizations that want to look into that traffic. Companies and organizations often choose to peek into employee-generated traffic for monitoring purposes. They need to be able to look into TLS, SSL encrypted traffic. This is done by using an HTTPS proxy. Web servers trust the identity of a visited website if the certificate presented by the website is signed by one of the CAs installed in the browser certificate store. To be able to peek into the user's TLS, SSL encrypted traffic, a company or organization simply adds another CA into the user's browser list of installed CAs. Consider the following scenario. Company A hires a new employee and provides him with a new company laptop. Before handing over the laptop, the company's IT department installs all the software necessary for their work. Among the software and packages that are installed, the IT department also includes one extra CA to the list of trusted CAs. This extra CA points to a company-controlled computer known as an HTTPS proxy. Because the company controls traffic patterns, the HTTPS proxy can be placed in the middle of any connection. It works like this. The user attempts to establish a secure connection to HTTPS website H, hosted on the internet. H can be any HTTPS site, a bank, web, online store, email server, etc. Because the company controls traffic patterns, it makes it so that all user traffic must traverse the HTTPS proxy. The HTTPS proxy then impersonates website H and presents a self-signed certificate to prove it is H. The HTTPS proxy essentially says, "Hi there, I am HTTPS site H. Here's my certificate. It has been signed by myself." Because the presented certificate is signed by one of the CAs included in the laptop CA store, the web browser mistakenly believes it is indeed communicating with H. Notice that had the extra CA not been added to the CA store, the laptop would not trust the certificate and immediately realize that someone else was trying to impersonate H. The laptop trusts the connection and establishes a secure channel with the HTTPS proxy, mistakenly believing that it is communicating securely with H. The HTTPS proxy now establishes a second secure connection to H, the website the user wants to access from the beginning. The HTTPS proxy is now the endpoint of two separate secure connections, one established with the user and another established with H. Because HTTPS is the endpoint of both connections, it can now decrypt traffic from both connections. The HTTPS proxy can now receive TLS, SSL encrypted traffic, user traffic destined for H, decrypt it, inspect it, re-encrypt it using TLS, SSL, and send it to H. When H responds, the HTTPS proxy reverses the process before forwarding the traffic to the user. Notice that process is most transparent to the user who sees the connection as TLS SSL encryption, green marks on the browser, or a lock. Some of them have locks on them. I think Chrome has a lock. While the connection is secure, it is established to a spurious website, or a suspect website. Even though their presence is mostly transparent to the user, TLS proxies can be easily detected with the help of hashes. Considering the example above, because the HTTPS proxy has no access to site H private keys, the certificate it presents to the user is different from the certificate presented by H. Included in every certificate is a value known as a fingerprint. Essentially a hash calculated and signed by the certificate user. The fingerprint acts as a unique summary of all the contents of the certificate. If as much as one letter of the certificate is modified, the fingerprint will yield a completely different value when calculated. Because of this property, fingerprints are used to quickly compare certificates. Returning to the example above, the user can request H's certificate and compare the fingerprint included in it with the one provided with the connection to the website H was established. If the fingerprints match, the connection is deemed established to H. If the fingerprint does not match, the connection has been established to some other endpoint. Follow the steps below to see if there is a HTTPS proxy in your connection. Alright, gathering the correct and unmodified certificate fingerprint. The first step is to gather a few site fingerprints. This is important because these will be used for comparison later. The table below contains a few certificate fingerprints from popular websites. Notice SHA-1 fingerprints shown in Table 1 may no longer be valid as organizations regularly renew their certificates. A fingerprint is also called a thumbprint in Windows-based machines. I was going to say that too. Most people looking on your Windows machine, you can't find the fingerprint because they refer to it as a thumbprint in your browser. All right, Table 1, popular sites and their SHA-1 certificate fingerprints. All right, so these are as of May 2020. All right, and then you got Cisco, Facebook, Wikipedia, Twitter, LinkedIn. All right, what are the fingerprints? So just to explain, what are the fingerprints? And basically, they're a hash of they're a unique identifier. Why are they important? Make sure you don't have a man-in-the-middle attack. Who calculates fingerprints? That would be like the CA. How would you how to find them? Well, I know it's going to have us going into our CBROPS workstation. But say if I open up here, I'll show you my NetLabs one. Like, see NetLabs. Click on that. Certificate, valid. A lot of schools they get certificates, like say from Let's Encrypt. All right, that's a Let's Encrypt certificate. Details, thumbprint. There's a thumbprint right there. All right. So, anyways. All right. That's how you find them. But since we're using our Arch Linux, I believe it's Arch Linux, yeah. All right, gather the certificate fingerprint in use by the CBROPS Workstation VM. Now that we have the actual fingerprints, it is time to fetch fingerprints from the local host and compare the values. If the fingerprints do not match, the certificate is in use. The certificate in use does not belong to the HTTPS site being verified, which means there is an HTTPS proxy in between the host user and HTTPS site being verified. Matching fingerprints means no HTTPS proxy is in place. Use the 3 piped commands below to fetch the fingerprint for Cisco.com. The line below uses OpenSSL to connect to Cisco.com on port 443, which is secure HTTPS. Request the certificate and store it on a text file named cisco.pem. The output is also shown for context. All right, so I'm going to try to copy this. I'm going to go to my terminal. Oh, it won't let me copy it. All right. Echo in pipe open SSL s underscore client connect cisco.com colon 443, because that's port 443, another pipe SED in, and then a single colon or single quote / certificate comma / and certificate. Alright, that single quotes, and we're copying that to or sending that to cisco.pem. And let me double check this because I just typed it in. Echo in pipe OpenSSL S client connect cisco.com sed in Oh look, I made an error right there. That's why I check it. It needs to be an NE. Alright, I think that's good. Error, BIOS, lookup, temporary failure, and name resolution. Oh, I wonder if I can ping Cisco.com. Well, that's probably why my stuff's not working. Let me check out the settings. Alright, I'm set up to bridge. That might be an issue. Let's go to ifconfig. Yep, look, no active. Well, I can do active too. That doesn't have an IP address. I'm going to switch this over to... You guys probably won't have this problem because I play around with these configurations a bunch. Let me see if I can... No. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm going to fix this. I'll be right back. Alright, I'll show you. It took about 5 minutes, but my issue was I couldn't ping Cisco.com in VMware Workstation. Yeah, VMware Workstation. I went up to edit. Well, first thing on this virtual machine, I right-click that tab, settings. I had it set to bridged, where it was using the existing physical network adapter. It was supposed to be set to NAT. All right, so I set it to NAT. Now, what you have to do though, if you're using VMware Workstation, you got to edit Virtual Network Editor and just check in here what your NAT is supposed to be set to. All right. So my network is 192.168.153.0. All right, I need to have it set to that to get out. Now I could, I'm not going to do that, but I could have it set to like my internal network 192.168.254.0 network in the school. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Alright, sorry, my phone rang. Alright, so we should be set to NAT. If I wasn't set to NAT, I'd be using a my lab's DHCP server internally or statically assign an IP address. But don't even worry about that. Just know I should be picking up a 192.168.153.0 IP address, all right, from this virtual network. All right, if you notice here, this is what it's assigning me. But long story short, the service wasn't started. So here, I'm going to clear this. All right, so we go back. What I had to do, I'm using an Arch Linux, so I had to go in here and say, okay, ifconfig a. All right, so I wanted to. Originally, this line wasn't showing up because I didn't have a valid IP address. All right, so I was like, all right, my interface is the ENS32, so that's where this comes into place. All right, I need to go to the system control, enable DHCP Daemon, DHCP CD. I don't know if that stands for Daemon, but that's this starts with the DHCP service for this interface, ENS32.service. All right, and then I went in here and I have to start it. Let me get back to it. Enable or start it. All right, there. And then that was my second command. Once I did that, now as you guys see up here, I picked up an IP address from the DHCP server of VMware Workstation in our case. Now I can ping Cisco.com. All right, so that's cool. I'm going to clear that. All right, now back to where we were. Hopefully I typed in that command correctly. I can do an up arrow to search for it, because I'd rather not type it again. All right, there it is. Okay, so what does this show? Alright, so I got this output. It's funny, I see... Did I use Cisco? What did I do? Oh, yeah, I made an error there. Notice how I showed you guys what the, whatever CISO.com, they're using the Let's Encrypt. That's more or less like a free certificate you can use. A lot of times, instructors like myself use that because it's a free certificate, but it only lasts for like 3 months. That's funny, but I made an error. It was supposed to be Cisco.com. So let me fix that. Alright, now it looks like it's supposed to look. Let me make this a little bit bigger, because I know a lot of you guys see it. It's hard to see the screen. Alright, so this here, it came back with the root certificate authority, a lot of information about it. Alright, so optionally use the cat command to list the contents of the output should be shown. Optionally use the cat command to list the contents of the fetched certificate and stored in the cisco.pim text file. So cat command cisco.pim. Alright, there's your certificate. Alright, notice begin certificate, end certificate. Alright, now the certificate is saved in the cisco.pim text file. Use the command below to extract and display its fingerprint. Alright, so I'm going to clear this screen, open SSL X509, no out, -n cisco.pim, fingerprint, and then SHA-1, whoops, SHA-1. Alright, there's its fingerprint. Alright. Your fingerprint value may be different for 2 reasons. Alright, notice ours is. First, you may be using a different operating system than the CyberOps workstation VM. Second, certificates are regularly refreshed, changing the fingerprint value. What hash algorithm was used in OpenSSL to configure the fingerprint? You guys should be able to figure that out. Alright, why is the specific algorithm chosen? Why does it matter? Alright, but I'll let you guys answer that. The big thing is you need to make sure if you were using one fingerprint for one, you need to use the same one for the other one because it's going to look different. And notice it's in hex. It's in dual hex. It looks kind of like a MAC address, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. Instead of 6 sections of dual hexes, it is 20. Alright, so use table 1 to compare the certificate fingerprint acquired directly from Cisco HTTPS site to the one acquired from within your network. Recall, fingerprints may change over time. Alright, so go up here, Cisco. Notice it is different. Alright, so something definitely has changed. Is this method 100% foolproof? Well, I would say it like this. If you're doing it right then, a lot of times, especially like hacking websites, they'll have like even files, they'll hash files without using a certain algorithm. But if somebody's manipulated that file on their side and then sends it to you, it's going to match up, even though it might not be the file you're wanting to download. So in transit, is it going to change? No, but it could change on the other side. Is it foolproof? It's hard to figure out if it's actually happening unless you go in there and look at all the fingerprints. And matter of fact, I'll show you guys, since this video is about, golly, I'm not trying not to make it over 30 minutes, but if you give me just 1 second, if I can type correctly, I'll show you guys. It's a man-in-the-middle attack because you're putting a proxy in there in between the sender and the receiver. But here, I teach Palo Alto classes, Palo Alto networks. They actually have a function that's that creates a man-in-the-middle attack. But I'll show you guys. Let's see. I'm gonna pause this video just real quick. All right, just to show you guys, if it'll let me drag it over. Oh, what happened? Let's see, where's that? Alright, so inside my lab firewall, notice there is a decryption option that you can turn on. SSL forward proxy is the type. It's kind of like what we're talking about. But I can set it up to decrypt all the traffic. So basically, I can use this firewall as a man-in-the-middle, so I can look at, say if I don't want some certain data going out of my, obviously this is a lab, it really doesn't matter other than if students are using it and losing PII or personally identifiable information. But if this was a anything other than that, you wouldn't want certain things like going outside of a business, like credit card numbers or some kind of secret information from that company. You could turn this on and have it watch, and it decrypts every single thing going out, and looks at it, then re-encrypts it and sends it out to the user, or sends it out to the recipient. Alright, but it does that. Alright, but that's pretty common these days, but I just wanted to show you guys that little overall why that would matter. And that's it. Well, thanks for watching, and I think the only thing you had to do for this lab other than that was just fill out those 10 questions. You can do the challenge. I'm not going to go over that since we're over 30 minutes already, but there is there's an optional. What would be necessary for the HTTP proxy to work? Well, you would need an HTTP proxy, but if you guys want to answer that, and if you email me and you need extra credit, like our firewall here will do that. One thing you have to note though, if you turn on the SSL proxy, which is called encryption, it's the encryption option in the firewall, you have to make sure that has a CA registered certificate inside the firewall, or just like in this lab they're saying, you have to add that firewall as a trusted CA into all the browsers on your network, or it's going to get flagged as a unsecure certificate when you try to go to any website whatsoever. It's always going to say it's untrusted. It'll look, matter of fact, it'll look just like this. Like I'm in it right now. Let me actually log out of it. Oh, where's my log out? I usually just shut it down. Alright. So if I were to go to 192.168, let me see if it does it. Well, it doesn't do it now. But it'll come up with that little error that says, warning, this site might be insecure. See that right there? It's unsecured. This is a secure site, but in my case, I'm not paying for a certificate. So this firewall is actually working, it's operating as a CA. All right. So if I look at their certificate, I mean, it's going to be valid, but it's, you know, it's not been displayed from a certified certificate of authority. All right, that's it. That's all, just a little extra info in case you need it or want it. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.